Last week, my son in his gun store had the first accidental discharge that he's had in 20 years of business. And because the person that was involved in it had been taught the proper way of handling a gun and the things that you should do and shouldn't do, it turned out to be a disastrous accidental discharge that cost a lot of money, but it didn't cost anybody an eye or a leg or a death. And so I'm going to explain to you what happened. This is a brand new USO scope. Price tag on this scope is $999.95. So it's pretty close to $1,000, wouldn't you say? So that's a pretty expensive scope. That's a very nice scope. He had a gentleman, I guess he was an older gentleman, that came into the store. Of course, age doesn't have anything to do with whether you're safe or not safe. But he came into the store and he had this shotgun. I'm not sure exactly what kind it was, but I think it was a pump. And he talked to one of the tellers that works for my son, who was a seasoned shooter, a seasoned gun handler, and that's the reason this didn't turn out to be a disastrous situation. And he said he couldn't get the gun to work. And so he came out from behind the back of the case that he had there, and he was trying to work the action on the gun. The thing that was wrong with that is the fellow who brought the shotgun in didn't tell him there was already a shotgun shell in the chamber, and obviously he was trying to open it up to make sure it was clear, which is the standard procedure, and in so doing the gun fired. And luckily he was using the proper technique in handling a firearm and never pointing it in a direction of any kind of a person or a vehicle or anything else. And it fired, and it went through the case that my son had a lot of expensive scopes in, went through the bottom of the case, and this scope was in the bottom of the case, and it destroyed this scope. You can see the hole, and it had a double-aught buckshot in that load. Here's some of the paperwork that came with it. Here's the plastic or foam cushion. And here, my friends, is the scope. If you look at the scope, it's easy to see that it's damaged beyond repair. The tube has got some major dents in it from those double-aught buckshot. His turret on the top, his focus adjustment, all of them damaged. The scope is history. But luckily, the scope was damaged beyond repair, but nobody in the store was, because the teller who was handling that shotgun held it in the right direction when it happened. So I'm hoping you who are watching today realize how important it is to be safe at all times, not most of the time, but all times with a firearm. That you obey all the laws pertaining to the gun, especially those laws having loaded guns in vehicles, and holding your gun in a safe direction, and making sure of where your gun is pointed, know what's behind your target, so that you don't have an accident that will cost somebody their life or somebody to be crippled for life. I've been involved with a lot of people who have had accidents, and some of them have been disastrous. Some of them have died. And you don't want to be on that end. If you have an accident where somebody dies and you're a part of that accident, likely it's not, you will never want to even touch a firearm again.